In this video, I'll be reviewing your Pokemon. More specifically, this is a submission by Silver Bagel, and he has posted 2 Blastoise and a Wigglytuff that we'll have a look at. One of the Blastoise happened to be shiny, and it is the first Blastoise that we're going to talk about. The ingredient list here is Mono Milk, which is really nice. It has that long-term potential for whenever the dishes are getting huge. And so I would say before we even jump into the traits here, I think Mono Milk Blastoise is underrated. People currently are making a lot of assumptions into the future of the dishes not having a whole lot of milk, saying, well, all the dishes are just 12 milk or 15 or whatever the max recipe currently is for the milk. But Blastoise is the only mono milk Pokemon currently. Meowscarada got milk recently in its second slot, so the B tier, or not even B tier, the B, ingredient choice option. And so I think this is a pretty solid choice for the ingredient list for the Blastoise. The counter argument then is, what do we do with the cacaos? Because you can get a lot of cacaos from Blastoise too, chocolate milk, and that is a compromise you have to make. You either go for some cacao combination here or straight out milk. And for the long-term potential, I do think having milk in the Blastoise is going to serve you well. So time will tell on that. And then if you don't get cacao from Blastoise, you have to find that elsewhere. And I mean, there are cacao on a decent chunk of Pokemon, and Absol is a mono potential there. So if you're a premium, then I would consider that. So with that out of the way, just wanted to talk a little bit about that since 2 of the submissions here are Blastoise. This first one is shiny. It's got inventory up L, and it's got ingredient finder S. Now, the level on this one is 32, so we've unlocked 2 slots of milk, and we can see that it has been evolved twice, presumably, since it has level main skill 3. Although what I'm a little bit confused by here is how the inventory is still 35. Something here doesn't add up, and that makes me think it has not been evolved. But you have instead used 2 main skill seeds on it. That's the only way that it can have 35 inventory at level 32. That is surprising. I personally would not have put main skill seeds into a Blastoise, but overall, it is a useful Pokemon, and so you will be getting some value out of it. And it has the berry finding. So the inventory berry finding combo, pretty nice. Water type berry overall is decent value. Unfortunately, the ingredient finder S is clogged up a little bit by the ingredient finding M coming in later. Then it has skill trigger S at level 100. Now, level 100 is a ways away, so we're going to remove that one. And it says no nature here, but it's actually quirky. Basically the same. This nature has no effect. And so for all practical purposes, we're probably going to be looking at level 60 at max, maybe 50. And then we're looking at this. And so shiny Blastoise with a triple milk ingredient list. It has some aspects here that are nice. It's got inventory, which can be good, and it's got the ingredient finder S. Now I'm going to put back the ingredient finding M because it is a shiny with the correct, depending on what you are looking for, ingredient list. And all things considered, if you get this Blastoise to level 75, it's going to be pretty strong. It's going to produce a lot of berries, a huge chunk of milk, and if there are any recipes in the near future that are upgraded, be on the lookout for that. If some of these desserts or whatever else suddenly requires a lot more milk, then this Blastoise is going to be a lot more interesting of a Pokemon to really work on. But to an extent, you can always almost assume already, that it will be a use for more milk in the future. That's just how this game scales, but what can you do? So overall, this is a pretty cool find. a shiny Pokemon with berry finding, some ingredient related traits, mono ingredient list. I'd be pretty happy if I found this too. And so we're actually gonna stay on Blastoise, but we're gonna hop on over to the next Blastoise because Silver Bagel happens to have 2 Blastoise. And this next Blastoise is also pretty strong, although not shiny. It is currently level 38. Let's see here. Presumably it's been evolved twice. We just have to double check with the inventory to figure that one out. It's got inventory M. And it's got ingredient finder M. It's got the quiet nature, not quirky this time. So already just looking at this is pretty solid. Now, what is the ingredient list on this Blastoise? It happens to be milk, cacao, and milk. And at that point in time, it's almost as if you need an XXXXXL milkshake recipe to make sense of this, because I would personally have had an issue with figuring out which Blastoise to go for if I had the choice of the first Blastoise and this one. And in this particular episode, I would recommend you guys watching to drop your thoughts in the comments to help Silver Bagel out. Share your perspectives. Now, we do have the Nirtheart Discord. We've probably by now had a decent discussion about this and rate my mon, but if not, let's pick up that conversation again and really figure this one out. So the next couple of sub-skills are Helping Speed S, which is nice, and it's got the Helping bonus. And this is where I'm just a little bit confused as for what is the best outcome. Overall, I would say having Mono Milk for the future is very solid. It future-proofs you. And in this case, you still get a lot of milk, and cacao is a valuable ingredient. It's useful in combination with milk for the most part, because both of those tend to be desserts-related ingredients. Helping bonus, super strong. Ingredient up nature with the ingredient finding M sub-skill, very strong. And not only that, you can sub-skill seed this one if you want to. And you can sub-skill this one if you want to. And that is a very strong Blastoise. Blastoise probably S tier, if not a solid A tier in terms of rating. And so overall, it's a pretty good find. EXP gains down, gonna hinder you a little bit in getting this one to level 75, but it's gonna happen eventually if you just keep at it. And so an interesting Pokemon for sure. Now, Silver Bagel has also posted a third Pokemon in his submission, which is a Wigglytuff. Man, it's so small. It's that shiny? It's gotta be. If it is shiny in the thumbnail, I've clarified that. But I'm gonna assume that it is shiny. It's just a little bit hard. It's like super small in my second monitor here. So we have to clear these out. And again, let me know in the comments and let Silver Bagel know what your thoughts are on the 2 Blastoise. Should he do like a double Blastoise? Could be pretty cool. Although that would be a lot of milk. Like, you would need some sort of recipe then to happen. Otherwise it would just be filler milk until the sunset. So this Wigglytuff is level 28. Presumably it's been evolved twice, but we have to figure that out later. No, man, this has got a lot of inventory. Inventory L, inventory S. It's got 42 in total. So actually, this has only been evolved once. If it has 0 hours on it, this may have a lot more than that. So let's just test it. Let's say this was caught as a Wigglytuff. And it has 2,000 hours. Where are we looking at? 45. What if it has 1,000? What if it has 500? Okay, this makes me believe it basically has no time, and it's been evolved twice, because it's got 42 inventory. A lot of inventory. Helping Speed S is the level 50 skill. Level 75, we have Skill Trigger M. And level 100, we have Skill Trigger S. I don't really know what I would do with such a Wigglytuff because it has the careful nature. So long term, if you could somehow just get this to level 75, you could sub-skill seed this one. Oops, you were unlucky. You got even more inventory. Then we're looking at this. And I mean, at level 100, this would be a dream come true. You have all the skill triggers you need, and definitely all the inventory you need. Although, I just have a problem with some of these Pokemon that are so late because, for one, you probably don't need more than one healer long term. Second of all, 75 is a ways away, so you would need a healer until then, and it's not impossible that you would find a healer with these sub-skills a little bit earlier. Now, the nice thing about this Wigglytuff is it is shiny, so if that is a factor for you, then long term, this is going to be a super nice shiny healer. Some people really value that, and no wonder, super rare. So it's just a little bit unfortunate in terms of the ordering of these sub-skills, but the whole package is really strong, so you'll have to be the one to really decide on that. I see the energy for everyone main skill level here is 2. Based on the inventory stuff here, we have figured out that it is presumably caught as a Jigglypuff. Wait, what am I doing here? That was helping speed S, and then we had inventory S. The inventory was 42 here. So yeah, I would assume you probably have another healer on your team right now, and you're just interested in hearing my perspective here since you happen to find a shiny healer. It's a tough call. Now, what you could potentially consider is if you have a healer on your team that's not Wigglytuff, your friend list and your encounters and everything is going to give you a lot of candies for Wigglytuff, to the point where if you've been a day 1 player, I see this one was caught September 25th, 2023. Let's say this is the scenario. You are a premium player, so you're getting seeds. You use 2 sub-skill seeds. Oops, you were unlucky. This is what we're looking at. Now, if we remove this, though, it's still a factor. Like, skill trigger S comes in eventually. It's just super late. If you can somehow just wand this Wigglytuff to level 75, this is going to be a very strong healer. It has all the inventory it needs. You won't have any issues with banking 2 skill triggers. In fact, this skill rate is pretty decent to where you probably will, you know, want to collect more often than whenever you hit inventory max anyway. And then helping speed M, skill trigger M, careful is like the base level, in my opinion, of where skill specialists get really strong and you can say, wow, that is a great skill specialist. And then in addition, it has that skill trigger S for that ultra late game, and for the healers, you want that ultra late game. So overall, this is a Wigglytuff to consider. It does look like it's shiny, so that's just another factor. It's just level 75 is ways away, I understand, but you'll just have to consider your alternatives, because like, let's say you don't have another Wigglytuff somewhere, so all that candy is free to put towards this one. You can kind of just catch a decent Gardevoir with skill level up M and do the reverse Gardevoir Wigglytuff strategy, and then long term have a shiny healer, and then just run Gardevoir until you have enough candies for the Wigglytuff to zoom it to 75, dump some main skill seeds into it. Either way, I would not release this one. Some things could happen in the future to where this becomes very favorable. Who knows? But overall, a very interesting Pokemon that was the foundation for a lot of discussion. So, hope you've enjoyed this breakdown. Silver Bagel. To everyone else, you can leave a big ol' thumbs up on this video if you want to see more of this type of content. Seems like we have to revert to the full-on New Year's Eve because it doesn't want to recognize my thumb somehow. Okay, thank you for watching.